Hey, ladies and gentlemen, you know who it is. Washington Football Weekly. I'm Sean Spencer. That's my guy, Mr. Will Kramer, and we are here breaking down the game. We know Heineke. He's the guy. He's been in here 4-1 as the start. 3-1 or 4-1?
3-1.
Yeah, 3-1 as the starter in these last couple games. Has been playing balls to the wall. He's been playing out of his mind and definitely excited for it. Now, with that being said, Carson Wentz is cleared. He is able to come back. Now, we know after listening to certain press conferences, and he said this on the Don Geronimo show, Ron Rivera has said they are going with Taylor Heineke, but because Carson is technically back, but kind of like Chase Young, he still has to make sure that he's back to game speed. He's back to knowing the situation. You know, he has to get into game planning and all those type of things. So for this game, and Rivera was very clear to say, for the Houston game, our starting quarterback will be Taylor Heineke. However, and John Geronimo tried to pin him on this. He said, well, what about next game? What about it? He said, for this game, we are going to go with Taylor Heineke. We will see what happens later on down the road. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to dive into this. Will, I'm going to come to you. I can't believe I had to say this.
I have to share this.
Woo! Wow.
No. Nathan said that's got to be Heineke.
There it is, man. Look, here it is. We have a dilemma. We have a controversy. Do you start a healthy Carson Wentz or the hot hand Taylor Heineke? Will, what you got, man?
Well, for Houston, it's very easy. It's you stick with Heineke because just like you said, while Carson Wentz may be eligible to come off the short-term IR, it's an easy thing to say, well, he's got to work his way back. And by playing Monday night and they had Tuesday off, now we're all into Sunday game prep. So that's not enough time. But the bottom line, and this is what Ron is even admitting, you know, he's going to check about Carson's health. But he's going to check with the players too. And we're all seeing it out there. You saw it with the plane ride back and how much they were just showing so much love to Taylor and having a good time with him. You have to stick with him. When you have Terry McLaurin coming out just saying, like, you know, there's just something about him. We just like to play with him and what he inspires in that locker room, you can't pull him. Now, let's be honest here with what they are. Heineke is what we saw on Monday night, 17-29, 211 yards. It's kind of his cap right there.
Yeah.
You know? That's kind of his ceiling. You might not get over 250 passing yards. The other thing about Heineke, because we've been involved in this, he started 16 games. He's now started 4. This season, he doesn't run the offense enough yet for us to feel good going into the fourth quarter. Every game is a heart attack game.
Yeah.
All right. So you also got to be asking yourself, like, yes, he is the heart of the team. He's got everyone fired up. But is that what we want our offense to be? Like, one thing Alex keeps talking about, he knows he runs Scott Turner's offense better. Do you think that Scott Turner wants to be thrown for 211 yards only in a game? Or does he want someone who can throw the ball a lot more? So I think you have to stick with him. But I'm still holding out for that unknown with Carson. I'm still holding out for there's a couple things that have changed since when Carson was in there. The offensive line hasn't changed. It's still bad. So that's a concern. But the running game has improved.
Yes.
All right. It's not great. It's not good, but they're finding ways to make do with it. And the only time Carson had a good running game was in the Bears game when he broke his finger. So you really weren't seeing him play with a running game. So I'm not saying we should put him in there, but I still feel this, like, has he been given a full chance to see what he can do out there? And just remember, Carson Wentz is also the one who had multiple 300-yard passing games for us.
Boom. Very true. With hardly any running game. Look, at the end of the day, yes, you ride with the hot hand. I am 100% on board with that. You have to. I mean, there's no mistaking the energy, the chemistry, the connection that Carson has with the receivers, with the offense, the way that people talk about him. You know what I mean? Talking about, we just want to play with him. We want to play with him. What's her name? Ash Swinton made a comment, and I thought it was so funny and so odd when I first heard it. But she said they were on the fantasy show and they were talking about Taylor Heineke, or talking about Terry McLaurin, and she said, "Oh, he's going to be great now. He's got his quarterback back." And I just thought, "Oh, that's Taylor. What are you talking about?" But it's the truth. He has the quarterback that's going to throw it to him no matter what. He's been getting it. So, like you talked about, what, five catches in the first, like getting hit early and often. That's what Taylor wants all along, and that's what Heineke is providing. So he's giving him that opportunity. He's giving him that chance, and that's what we need. Now let's be very honest. Let's be very, very honest right now. One of the other reasons that we're going to keep Taylor in here is you got the win against Philly, which was huge divisional win, big time game, upset. We needed it, but going forward, we are playing Houston and Atlanta, two teams that have been struggling and definitely struggling at times on defense. And the way that we're playing, we can definitely come in here and let's be honest, we should expect to win the next two. I get, and I 100% believe, don't look past anybody. We got to go beat Houston first, then go beat Atlanta. But we should win these next two games, then putting it at 7-5. I think that's when you have the real dilemma. That's when you're like, okay, Taylor is winning. He's consistently winning. At this point, he'll be 5-1. The team is gelling. Chase is back. You know what I mean? And we're coming down to that stretch where we're playing major divisional games against the Giants. And then you're going to have a Cleveland team that's got Deshaun Watson back. You're going to play Dallas. You know what I mean? Exactly. I'm playoff caliber teams. So at that point, then you're going to have to really make the decision like, wait a minute, because do you still ride with the hot hand or do you go with the guy that eventually will get the job done?
Yep. And I feel like there's one thing I like Ron said is when he makes his decision, and he's not talking about this Sunday, he's going to stick with it. He's going to support it because he doesn't want that guy looking over his shoulder. He's not going to let happen what occurred up in New England this year where Mac Jones got pulled after two series, and then they said, "You're out, Zappy's in." So he's going to let the quarterback go. I think he knows right now that he doesn't have to make a decision because I don't think Carson Wentz is ready to play on Sunday anyway, so it's easy for him. But I also think Ron knows he doesn't have a choice right now. With that locker room, if he were to insert Carson Wentz, they might revolt. Right. And so, he has to go with Heineke. But I'm kind of thinking a little bit more long-term here. And this is where part of me is still like, I just want to see Carson one more time. As fun as Heineke has been, Sean, are you seeing anything out there that says he should be QB1 next year? Right. Not really. This offense is not cutting it. Whereas, and I'm not saying that Carson was either, but we have an option to determine on him. Right. We have to decide something at the end of the season. And with only the reason why I keep bringing back, wanting to see a little more is we've only had a small sample size of him to determine what are we going to do, or are we in quarterback we're looking for the quarterback carousel is going to continue in DC. And so that's why I'm kind of like you said, if we're at 7-5 and Carson comes back healthy, I kind of want to see, because we know we're not going to win the Super Bowl. So let's kind of see, okay, what's he got? Is he worth building off of next year? Is he worth trying to do a smaller extension for less money, that type of stuff? Right. Or are we in the situation where we're going to have to draft a quarterback? Because if we keep winning these games, we're taking ourselves out of that opportunity.
That's the other thing.
That's where it's like, this is a hard decision.
Yeah. Johnny says Carson is gone. He's plenty of tape on him. No need to waste more time here.
He's not wrong.
Yeah. I mean, it is there. Mm-hmm. Okay, if Scott Turner is coordinator, why hasn't it been consistent? Well, you have to – a lot of it is predicated on the run game. And the run game we've had issues up to this point, but now getting back Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson, that two-headed monster. Coach Ron Rivera talked about it in the interview today, saying he's finally got the tandem similar to what he had in Carolina, with Jonathan Stewart and D'Angelo Williams, where that 1-2 punch allowed Cam and the quarterbacks and all those guys to get moving because you had two quality backs, and us having Antonio Gibson and having Robinson now, he was talking about, that's definitely something that is beneficial. I said pay a free agent quarterback big bucks and new ownership coming in.
Hey, okay. He keeps talking about new ownership here, buddy. It needs to happen first. Don't jinx
Yeah,
it.
it's very true.
It's not a done deal here.
We're not out yet.
Not until I see the ink dry on the new ownership contract am I celebrating.
Yeah. So, hey, look, only time will tell because, look, I'll tell you one thing. If Heineke comes in this week against Houston and loses, all these people that are saying Yang and Heineke will be right there asking for his head. Right. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things that I thought was so great of what Coach said and so important is that this game is great. This is amazing. And he even checked everybody. He said, they were hooting and hollering. Everybody was excited on the plane and everything. And he even checked them. He said, don't get it twisted. You ain't done nothing yet. Uh-huh. You just got back up to 500. But if you lose next week, if you lose, these next couple games, it's all for naught. What is that for? You just beat somebody that's undefeated. What did you do? You were just a bump in their road. Right. You know what I mean? Make it mean something. And
let's not forget how we felt last week on this show, right. Talking about the Heineke interceptions. Right. We had a chance to win the game, and he threw an awful interception. And I can't help but tell you, when he throws the ball over the middle, a knot turns into my stomach. I get nervous every time. Or when he throws the ball to the sidelines and that sucker just hangs forever. Yeah. I'm just like, oh my gosh, get the ball there.
Right.
So, I mean,
one of the things I'm liking is that our receivers are coming back to the ball a lot. They have to. They're like, okay, we know it's going to die. Just come back and help him out. And that was huge in this game.
Yes.
Oh, man.
I agree.
Oh, man, yes. So, hey. Look, talk to us, ladies and gentlemen. If you have something to say, let us know what you think, who you think should be the starter. Taylor Heineke in the hot hand. Carson Wentz, once he gets healthy, it's definitely a hot button issue in the Washington community, and I'm sure it continually will be. A lot of people are very interested in just keeping Heineke, keeping it the way it is, because he has been playing great. But I wonder, is that just all dependent on him playing well? Like, are they still going to have that same, fervor for him once he starts throwing multiple interceptions? Right. It's, he's almost done in some of these games.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Thanks for watching. If you like that clip, be sure to check out the other great content from the Let's Talk Football community. And as always, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when more great content like this becomes available.